Hi, you guys. I am going to vlog about the birth of my second daughter. My children are 2 years and 1 week apart, and my second pregnancy came as a huge surprise to me. I was very angry when I found out I was pregnant. I had taken 3 pregnancy tests, and all 3 came back positive, and I threw the test at my ex-husband. As women, we, not to stereotype all of us, so please don't take this in a hateful way, but a lot of women will get pregnant on purpose to trap a man, to keep a man. And I felt like my ex-husband was getting me pregnant on purpose to trap me because I wasn't really working. I didn't have a job. I was a stay-at-home mom up until a couple months after my second daughter was born. I just couldn't do the stay-at-home mom thing anymore. It just wasn't in me at that time. But on our first doctor's appointment, after I took the pregnancy test and I threw it at him out of anger, we went to the first doctor's appointment and he could not find my kid. He kept telling me I wasn't pregnant even though all the tests came back positive. When he finally did find her, she was not in my embryo sac. She was on the outside of my sac. So he pretty much had told me that I was probably not going to carry her and I was going to end up miscarrying her, and that I needed to come back in 6 weeks and see if I had lost her or what the situation was. When we went and told his parents that I was pregnant, I had different reactions from his parents and my parents. My parents my mom prayed for my daughter, but she also believed that if I lost her, then, that was God's way of saying he wasn't ready for me to have her, but he prayed that I would have her and that I wouldn't go through the pain and the mental part of having a miscarriage. And so when we told his parents, they seemed more like they were hoping that I was going to miscarry my daughter. But by the grace of God, I did carry her, obviously. And I had her because she's here almost 9 years later. When I was pregnant with her, she doesn't have my temperament. She doesn't have my attitude. She has more of my brother's temperament, to the point when I say that, she's quiet, which is like my brother. And when she's had enough, she's had enough, and you just need to watch out. When I was pregnant with her, she never liked her dad. And I know people are probably thinking, haha, that's funny. How does she not like her dad? She didn't know her dad. But I really think kids have a sixth sense and they know when someone's good and when someone's bad. When I was carrying her and she got to the point where she could move and kick and you can feel her do all that stuff, whenever she would kick and I would tell her dad to feel my stomach, she'd stop moving. If he cuddled up to me and put his hand on my stomach, she would kick as hard as she could to move his hand off of me. Whenever she'd be moving around and her dad would start talking, she'd quit talking. It was just one of those really odd situations, and I never really thought about it at the time. I thought, oh, look, she's playing with her daddy. No, when she was born, it was the same thing. She never really liked to be around him. If he was around her and he held her, she'd scream and cry. And she hates him to this day. And I know people are like, oh, what kind of kid hates their dad? She legitimately does not like her father. I don't know the whole story behind it. I don't know why. She's told me little tidbits on why she doesn't like her dad, which is understandable. But like I tell her, he is your father and you need to love him. And I tell her, rather true or not, that her daddy loves her. I don't know if it's true. You can only hope that their dad loves them. But she has no care in the world for her dad. I don't ever tell her stuff like to try to get her not to like her father. I don't ever tell her negative stuff. I tell her, you should miss your daddy. You should want to see your daddy. Your daddy does love you. And she always has comebacks on, no, he doesn't. If he loved me this, if he loved me that, he wouldn't have done this. He wouldn't do that. Just a lot of anger issues there. He really didn't go to any of my doctor's appointments when I was pregnant with her. I did a lot of those by myself. He came to the to find out the sex of the baby and the very first doctor's appointment. I believe the rest of them I kind of went on my own. When I had her, I spent about 24 hours in the hospital. I didn't stay very long. She was a repeat C-section. But if you can get up and walk, if you can use the restroom, they will send you home. I got up and walked as soon as the spinal tab wore off. I walked. I went to the bathroom. I walked to the nursery. I wanted to go home. I had a toddler at home. My children are 2 years and 1 week apart. I wanted to be home with my daughter. I didn't want to be in the hospital. So as soon as they released me and they said that my daughter could go home, we were gone. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. He didn't take a lot of time off. I don't even know if he really took time off after I had her. I really can't remember, to be completely honest with you. But I did everything with no support from his family. And the sad thing about that is his parents lived next door to me. It wasn't one of those things where they lived on the other side of town, or they lived in a different city, or they lived in a different state. Like my mom and dad lived, my driving time 7 to 8 hours. Their driving time 8 to 10 hours, because they're older, so they drive slower and they're not little speed demons like, you know, I am. But they lived literally right next door, and I really didn't have any support or any help from anybody. I was pretty much on my own. I did good doing it on my own, even though there was a lot of stuff I shouldn't have done. I did, which was fine. But that was the birth of my second child. I wasn't trying to get pregnant. I wasn't planning on getting pregnant. And I have her. Which she's special. And I think she's a miracle, and she challenges me, and well, all my kids challenge me, to be honest, but that's the reality of my life right now. So I'm gonna end the video now, and this is the part where the affair starts, and it's the affair that I find out about. But I find out about the affair in 2010, or I'm sorry, 2011. I found out May 2nd. 2011 at 7:02 p.m. But I do believe that he was cheating from 2008 to 2010, and probably previously, but I never caught him. But the affair that he started in 2010 and ended in July 2010, that is the affair that I found out about. And then after that, I found out about other affairs that had taken place. So the next time I blog, we will pick up on the affair that ruined our entire marriage and was the beginning to the end of my marriage. So with that being said, good night, everybody, and I will blog later on. God bless y'all.